Greetings, comrades. How's it going? Trying to actually do this like I want to do it. So we shall see. It's an experiment every week until it stops, and that's not going to be anytime soon. So today, pretty quick, going to talk about some acquisitions, some new acquisitions to the Corsairs Library. I don't think I mentioned it last time, but for those who are seeing this who know what a Corsairs Club member is, which for now and probably forever is all of you. If anybody is still in West Central Florida, the intent is that anything that's in the Corsairs Library you can borrow, just like a library. If you're not in West Central Florida, I don't know, it's into something. I have to figure out how to get it there. Maybe we'll take a road trip. But anyway, the whole concept is that if something's in the library, you have access to it for what that's worth. Anyway, so today we did a little run down to the Goodwill Bookshop in Bradenton. It's not quite to Sarasota yet. And I got to tell you, if you do happen to still be here in this area and you like books, go there. It's not huge, but it's a good little used bookstore, and it was a good haul today. So I'm just going to show you some of that stuff going into the library. Some of it might be interesting. Some of it, most of it, probably won't. Using a different camera today so I can see that this is sort of in frame. I don't know why I like to do that so much. Anyway, so this is a auction catalog from Sotheby's. It is for the property from the estate of Esmond Bradley Martin from 2002. I have to tell you, I have no idea who Esmond Bradley Martin was, but I can tell you this: he had an extraordinary collection of watches, primarily timepieces, pocket watches, we would call them now, and there's some really neat stuff in here. And if you happen to like auction catalogs, which I do, here, let me see, some neat stuff, like, tells you all about whatever is being auctioned, tells you about the provenance, where an artifact or article has spent its life, and all sorts of marketing material to try to get you, the person with lots of money, to come and bid on something and pay more for it than you might otherwise pay for it. That's a whole nother conversation if we want to talk sometime about the psychology of auctions. Coincidentally, I am in the process of reading what is likely to become one of my top 10 favorite books of all time. Not saying that lightly. It's called The Grand Complication by Alan Kurzweil, and it's great. I'm not going to talk about it this time, but if you like stories where an eccentric, wealthy person hires someone to track down a mystery, it's one of those. And it has to do with what could have been one of these watches, but anyway, so if you're into watches, into auctions, that's fun. Some of you may know, many of you may not, that these days the one thing that I collect books about, I can't stop doing it. The one thing I collect books about is books about books. Books and libraries and bookstores and booksellers and mysteries that deal with books and watches, I guess. So this is something that I've been wanting to get for a while. This was a great price. I think it was half price at the Goodwill Bookstore. I will leave a note here somewhere in case you want to go down there. I will leave the address. But this is The Library Book by Susan Orlean. Who knows? Not New Orleans, Susan Orleans. And by also the author of The Orchid Thief, which I heard was great and have never read. But this is about the great disastrous library fire that claimed the Los Angeles Public Library in 1986. Like I say, it pops up a lot when you're looking for books about books, and I've always wanted to read it. Now I will. Okay, here comes the fun one. Many of you will know, I don't think it actually made it into the cut last week, but when we were talking a little bit about John le Carré, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, at one point I mentioned James Bond and Ian Fleming, and I think that got cut out. But obviously, well, I don't know. Some of you, everybody's out there. Maybe not obviously, sort of obviously. I'm a huge Bond fan. Movies are fine, but I specifically really like the original novels written by Ian Fleming. And as it turns out, dear friend Kingsley Amis, not really, but feels like it because I really like his stuff. I like his essays, even more than his novels. Kingsley Amis, Angry Young Man, one of those from the new wave of British literature back in the 50s and 60s. Now he's, he's not even an angry old man, he's an angry dead man. But before that happened, he wrote a bunch of essays, one of them on drinking stuff called On Drink, and this one is a collection of his essays on his thoughts about James Bond. Kingsley Amis, although he was a literary titan, also really liked genre literature. He really liked science fiction. He really liked, as it turns out, thrillers, and he really liked James Bond. And I don't want to say was an apologist, but I think in these essays he kind of approached some of the aspects of Bond that many of the other literati of the time liked to slag Mr. Fleming, and by association Mr. Bond, about, his womanizing and his sadomasochism and all of the other things that, there's plenty to slag Fleming for at the time, 50s and 60s. You probably know what I'm talking about, but interestingly, he wasn't getting slagged a lot for that. He was getting slagged for getting tortured, for Bond, for writing about Bond getting tortured, which I guess people thought Fleming took too much glee in. But anyway, so this by Kingsley Amis, the James Bond dossier, which in this case has a little quote. It says, "Is he in hell or is he in heaven? That damned elusive 007," which is about the stupidest thing I've heard in a long time. But of course, it is a reference to the Scarlet Pimpernel, and it's got a picture of Mr. Bond's Continental Bentley, which is fun. That's Kingsley Amis. Once again, not hiding the cover of the book because I don't care. I saw it some more this week. Saw people holding up all their books, their book haul, and holding them up backwards so you don't know what they're going to talk about. And I'm like, what the hell? I don't know. Who cares? But anyway, so one last little. So anyway, so these are in the library now. Anybody wants to read them? Anybody wants access to them? Anybody wants to borrow them? Let me know. We'll figure it out. But see, look at this. I didn't even turn off the air conditioner, so it's probably going to be causing a problem. I'm not going to do this again. We'll just deal with it. But man, it's warm. So, funny coincidence. I had set the King's English. Here, I don't know. Can anybody see that? It's upside down. That doesn't help. Look, the King's English by who? The King's English by none other than Kingsley Amis. Get it? Kind of a pun. Those book publishers, and that is a grammar Nazi's dream. If you like, I think we might. Are we still recording? Maybe we are. Maybe we're not. Anyway, I set that out because I was going to talk about it. Instead, I talked about the stuff we got at the Goodwill Bookstore today, but they're both by the same guy. Sort of a weird coincidence, especially in light of how rare this is. Did camera die? Maybe not. Maybe it did. We'll find out. Until next time, have a good week. Talk to you later.